What's up, guys? Welcome back to Keeping It Real, the place to be for all the latest movie reviews, trailer reactions, and podcasts. I'm your host, James, joined by Jack today, and we're going to review Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Before we dive into the review, I just want to remind you all we are on Twitter at Keeping It Real UK. Give us a follow, and from there you can find links to all of our streaming platforms and social media. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok. Whichever app you use to listen to our podcast, make sure to follow us, like us, or give us a 5-star rating. Really helps us out. And we're also on YouTube, and we'd love to have you all subscribers so you never miss another video. Right, Weird, the Al Yankovic story. The synopsis, the official synopsis has this as the unexaggerated true story about the greatest musician of our time. From a conventional upbringing where playing the accordion was a sin, Weird Al Yankovic rebels and makes his dream of changing the words to world-renowned songs come true. An instant success and sex symbol, Al lives an excessive lifestyle and pursues an infamous romance that nearly destroys him. Directed by Eric Appel, starring Daniel Radcliffe, Rainn Wilson, Evan Rachel Wood, and a whole slew of big cameos. The movie released on the Roku channel on November 4th, 2022, and currently sits at an 84% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So quickly, spoiler-free, Jack, what did you think of Weird?
Also before I watched it, I read the synopsis on Letterboxd,
Okay.
and I didn't realize at the time it was being sarcastic. I thought
Right.
this was I haven't seen a trailer,
Okay.
so I thought this was a genuine obviously like a still funny but like a genuine biographical movie.
Yeah.
But there's a bit from like mentions some of his songs, and it's like from his early hits like Eat It and Like a Surgeon to his torrid celebrity love affairs and famously depraved lifestyle. I literally was like, I was just sat there. I was like, was he? I was on googling him before I was like watching this movie. I was like, did he have a depraved lifestyle? I was like, it's always seemed very PG to me.
Yeah.
I really did not want to watch this movie. I kept putting it off.
Mm.
I don't really know why. I hadn't watched a trailer for it or anything. I wanted to go in blind, but
I
it's
think the trailer would
genuinely,
have got you a bit hyped up for it because I
yeah,
I had no expectation. The trailer was really good. But go on.
yeah. I think it's like one of those things that like this film is fucking absurd.
Yeah.
Without like spoiling anything. Like there's so many bits in it. Like it took me like probably about 20 minutes to click that it wasn't real.
You're right. Yeah.
Like I knew there were scripted bits which were obviously for like comedic effect, but then like
Mhm.
some stuff happens and I was like, okay, well this obviously didn't
Yeah,
happen.
you were texting me like, wait, is this meant to be true?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what the fuck is this? All in all, though, I thought Daniel Radcliffe, like this is him all over in it. Like he loves doing weird shit now
Yeah, he
since
does.
Harry Potter,
Hmm.
and this is like something I think that he really like. You can obviously you can tell that he obviously had a fucking like a riot making this. Because even though he's done some like weird stuff, I can't really think of any like major like out and out proper comedies he's done. I don't think he did that
He's
like
done like a
rom
rom
com
com, yeah.
one with like Adam
I mean,
Driver.
Swiss Army Man is a funny performance, but that's got much more layers to it than just a comedy.
I
Um,
think he's in some TV show,
yes.
which is supposed to be quite funny, but I've not
Our
seen it.
mutual friend Hannah was showing me clips
Yeah,
from this show.
yeah,
I can't
I
remember
can't.
what it's called, but it looked really good, and he was really funny in it.
Yeah, he looks like he plays like a real fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it's like this is like a good. I'm surprised. I don't think this movie will do very well because of where it is. Like it's on like the Roku channel, isn't it? Which
But yes, so
until
it's not going for box office. It's literally you can get it for free. You can watch this for free. It had an 8 million budget. Um,
yeah. Is
but I
it?
imagine for
That's got
Roku, it's going to
quite
bring a lot of people to the site.
yeah. Like again, I'd never heard of it. I'd heard of the movie, but I hadn't heard of where it was until you told
Mm.
me where to watch it. But which I think is a shame that it probably he not a lot of people are probably going to watch this movie just because I think it's a different side to him, unless you've watched this TV show, which again I haven't. But a lot of people won't have seen to him because again he does pick weird things, and I think that's probably quite off-putting to someone who doesn't like film in the way that we like film.
Yeah, though I think if you are a Daniel Radcliffe fan, though, if you're a Potter fan, I think you'd be interested in checking out something where he really lets loose in this. He
Yeah.
goes for it. Um,
Um, there was one bit as well when I didn't realize what this was. Um, I thought he was gonna actually sing these songs,
well,
but he,
yeah, that is a part. So obviously, a lot of these music biopics, the actors are just lip syncing. I think most recently, famously, was Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, a film I detest to its very
yeah,
core. But
but
again, Daniel
this
Radcliffe was
like
like,
leans
that's where a
into
lot of
it.
yeah, he said that a lot of the humor comes from that voice clearly not coming from that head.
Yeah, that head and that fucking ridiculous wig.
Yeah, I mean,
What?
in like classic Weird Al fashion, like again, it took me like a few minutes to realize what was actually going on. This is a complete fabrication. It spoofs the music biopic genre as well as some others. I think it carried like this similar energy to movies like Hot Rod, Pick a Destiny, Walk
Yes,
Hard,
yeah,
They Came Together, Wet Hot American Summer. I think it really gets up there in like ranking like parody movies. I think it did a really good job. Daniel Radcliffe was I think this is one of my favorite performances he's done so far. I think my favorite is Swiss
yeah,
Army Man. Um, because of all he gave to that was just so good. This is definitely one of his best though since Potter. Um, and I think once you go with the movie and what it is and what it's trying to achieve, I think you could just have so much fun with it and just accept that
yeah.
none of this is true, really. There are a couple of snippets about what actually happened, but the like 85% of this is just
It's just
mocking other
is a
movies.
lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
But
the
I think
bit
by
that
the end, it actually became like kind of a touching story about how to like embrace your weird side, which Weird Al has always been about. He's like,
yeah, and
be as
follow your
weird as
dreams.
you are. Yeah, follow your dreams. And I think by the end, it actually came to a nice resolution of hilarity and sweetness.
Yeah, and like it's the actual. Can we go into spoilers yet?
Let's go into spoilers now. Yeah.
All right. So before I talk about like the ending of this fucking movie, I think I'm ashamed to say I think I only really got what this movie was when they're at that like pool party and like John Deacon asks him to make a parody up on the spot.
Yeah. And Wolfman Jack.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. It was so fucking when that was happening, I was like, okay, this
Like,
isn't
oh, I
real.
get it.
Yeah,
I,
now
I
I
mean,
understand.
I was sending you clips of it when I was watching it, and that opening
Yeah.
scene where this part did happen, didn't go as far as it does in the movie, but a traveling salesman did come to the door and sold Al an accordion, and that's how he got into it. In real life, though, his parents were very supportive of this and really wanted to support him. Um, but in this, yeah, his dad.
His dad like beats him almost to death.
And
I was
it's
like,
another a great cameo from Thomas Lennon, um, who I
who
always love when he pops up and
isn't
stuff.
in enough,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly,
think.
because he's
He's
always
so
brilliant.
funny.
He's like, "You're so good at this. You can have pussy lined around the block." He's speaking
It's
to
the
a
bit
child.
it's just the no, it's just the bit when he what's he call it? Like a devil squeeze box?
Devil
The
squeeze box.
accordion.
Oh,
And then like when he's just beating him, I was like, this is funny, but it's like, it's a bit gratuitous. And then when he cracks the chair over his back, I was fully in. I was crying. Oh, that's so funny.
that's what I
And like,
knew. This was gonna be.
yeah, well, that bit, I was like, I bet this probably happened, like, but not to this extent. I was like, he probably like, I don't know, like threw the man out of the house.
No,
And
apparently
then
they
there's
were all for it. Yeah,
the bit where he comes up with my Bologna.
my Bologna. Yeah.
When I was like, that this is probably, like I was like, this is just a fun bit of like, this is how like he came up with these songs. And then only when they got to the pool party, I was like, nah, they've been fucking having me on this whole
Well,
time.
my like stuff like My Bologna was actually like recorded in a bathroom, like a public bathroom and stuff. So there are like I said, little snippets of truth. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, like stuff like the big stuff in this movie, like that strict upbringing, which we see in a lot of these music biopics. Don't follow your dreams. Come and work at the factory. It's always just the factory. What do we make here? And the guy just laughs at it. There's that mentor-mentee relationship, that toxic romantic relationship that he has with Madonna. So it turns she's with Al, and in real life as well, they've never had a relationship. That's completely false.
Yeah, no. I that because when I looked at the cast for this movie and I saw Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna, and like again on Letterboxd, the top image is them, like looking like they're about to kiss, and I was like, "There's no way he went out with Madonna."
No, he didn't.
There's no way
he didn't.
And then like watching it, I was like, "Okay, this didn't fucking happen."
I love how it's like it comes out. She's with him though to get the Yankovic bump, because when someone gets a parody made from one of their songs, their sales just spike. They increase drastically.
And that Yankovic bump thing led to one of my favorite lines of the movie. Is when he's like drunk and he's like, "I bet you're so drunk you couldn't even think of a Yankovic bump." And then he's like, I could. And then he's like, "Sat there," and then he goes, "Oh, nothing rhymes with virgin."
Yeah, and that's part of like his big fall from grace as well, which you see in all these movies where they get hooked on drugs or booze. And it's sort of a downward spiral.
Weird Al.
I thought the Madonna relationship, though, really paid off. I thought that became so funny by the end, where she's the villain, because she wouldn't stay after he goes to Cuba, rescues her.
We're in this movie. Weird Al kills Pablo Escobar.
It's such a great scene. And then
when he kills all those people, then afterwards, and then like later on at his concert, he's like, "Yeah, I've killed so many people.
I've killed so many people." And then Madonna takes over the drug cartel and wants Al to do it with her. He refuses, so she goes back for revenge. So good. What I liked about it though, like, because Weird Al he's appealed to like all ages and stuff. We were saying before we started recording that we first became aware of Al when we were kids. So I think it dances that delicate line between sort of going like overly, like it never really goes like overly crude or gratuitous. There are some sort of like, more adult based humor, but it tiptoes that line between sort of innocent humor and more adult, which I think Weird Al has always done with his work. I think and just keeps it genuinely funny all the way throughout. Funnily enough, it never goes too far, despite what it's showing.
It's just like what I like about films like this. There are like well thought out jokes and like plot points, and like there's build-ups to all these gags. And then some of my favorite gags in movies are the ones that just seemingly come from nowhere and they're not really relevant. Like in this movie in particular, when he like reunites with his parents and his mum's just fat.
Such a good scene, such a funny scene. This is where he's sort of reconnecting with his father and finds out his father hated all of this music stuff because he comes from an Amish background and he got sort of obsessed with the accordion, and it led him down the wrong path. He just didn't want he didn't want Al to have dreams, so those dreams couldn't be crushed. He unbuttons
he crushed his spirit before he could have dreams.
He unbuttons the fucking jumpsuit.
He's got a wacky shit. He's got a wacky shirt under it.
And after all that, where he's reading through these the Amish Paradise lyrics that turned out his father wrote, and then he says, like, he takes a beat and then he's like, "Wait, Mum, why are you fat?" And like, they got over that ages ago.
I know, it was so funny. And when he's like showing him the big sketchbook and he's like, "Dad, I didn't know about any of this." And he's like, "I know, I just told you. I just explained it to you. How would you have ever known?" And he's like, "I'm just telling you now." Like they go for like the silly like obvious jokes that you don't really make in those films because usually they don't
Yeah.
work. But in this film, it really worked.
Well,
Um,
parody movies are a lost art. I feel like we used to get them all the time. And then it
yeah,
was stuff like Epic Movie and Meet the Spartans and all that ruined
like
it.
superhero movie and all
Yeah,
those.
and it's
Yeah,
drove it into the ground where we were
they did
spoofing every
too
single genre.
much.
Too many. And it was all from the same sort of group, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Um, but this, I think some others, like I mentioned earlier, that you should really check out. One that was my favorite for a while was They Came Together with Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd, which have you seen it?
I don't think so. No.
Check it out because Jesus Christ, I think I've watched that movie like 10 times because I just couldn't stop crying through it. I was like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. That's just a spoof on romantic comedies.
One of
Brilliant though.
my favorite. This was back in the day as well. Did you ever watch Mystery Men?
Yeah.
That's fucking funny. And Ben Stiller was Mr. Furious, and he's just
Mm.
livid all the time.
God,
And
what a
then,
movie.
and what is it like the Blue Raja, and he just throws cutlery at people.
You've unlocked a memory.
That film. I can't remember. One of them's a fireman, and he just called the shoveler, and he just got a fucking shovel.
Yeah.
It's fucking such a good movie.
I think maybe about these parody movies though, maybe the way to go is to, actually because a lot of them became we'll just recreate this popular scene and put a punchline on the end of it. Whereas this is it is telling a story in a sense,
Yeah,
but just blowing it massively out of proportion. And I think that's maybe the way to go. And because it plays it so seriously at points, that's where a lot of the humor comes from.
yeah. I think it's better when you're not when
You're
like
not sure.
you're not sure, and that's like which you can only really yeah like when you're not sure, like some of those movies like the Spartans movie and like Epic movie, they're like they're just not even dumb funny, they're just fucking dumb.
It's obvious they're not trying.
They're
They're going for
really
cheap
like
laughs.
they're not trying like so they're actively trying to not try, which is painful.
But I
Whereas a
thought in
movie,
this, where it got to the scene where where Madonna gets kidnapped in the diner, and it becomes sort of like a John Wick action scene, which I was like, this is like genius. Like you can't make a normal biopic about Weird Al because of the art that Weird Al creates. It's
yeah,
parody. So to go completely with that all the way, and this is parody with a big old fucking capital P. Is
yeah,
I thought it was such a smart way to go about it, and I usually hate when the artist that the movie is based on is involved with the production of it, because they tend to gloss over a lot of the more sketchy uh facts, like stuff like Straight Outta Compton and Bohemian Rhapsody. Both had the original creators involved in the production of it, and Weird Al wrote this movie with the director, but because it's not trying to fool
yeah,
you.
yeah,
It's just trying to be the funniest version of itself possible, and I think it really succeeds.
yeah. So do I. I think also I think the most surprised I was about this whole movie, and I googled it to make sure it was true. I was convinced his name was Alan, but it's Alfred.
Yeah,
I thought that was a parody. I thought that was a joke.
yeah.
So I
Again,
googled
you're like, I don't know
it.
what's real.
Weird Al. I was like, his name's definitely Alan. Like
Weird
all my
Al.
life, I've thought
I've
that.
never even thought about it in all
I've
my
also
25 years.
I've just looked at that They Came Together movie, and I fucking have seen that movie. Like Amy
Hilarious.
Poehler like runs like a cake shop, doesn't
Yeah,
she? Yeah, that is a fucking funny
when
movie.
Paul Rudd nearly bangs his own grandma. Fuck. It's like,
Yeah,
what are we doing? I don't know. Just go with
that
it.
that is a good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah, like are we gonna rate this thing, or have you got
Yeah,
more?
yeah. Just any final thoughts and give it a rating out of 5.
Um, I just think a great another step for I was going to say Daniel Craig. This would be a very different movie if it was Daniel Craig. That would be like epic movie. They went too far.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe was apparently their first choice for this.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because he crushed it.
Yeah.
For me, for me, I thought initially my initial thought was that it wasn't going to be a good movie because I couldn't tell what it was. I couldn't tell if it was actually autobiographical or if it was a parody or if it was a mix of the two. But that throughout the movie as it went on worked more and more for me. And I think that is a big part of the humor, not being sure about what's real and what's not real. And obviously there are some bits which is obvious fabrication, like he didn't kill Pablo Escobar to save Madonna, which is a sentence I would never thought in my life I'd ever have to say. I think all in all, I'd give this a solid 3.5.
All right, I'm going to 4 out of 5. I thought this really succeeded. I had such a great time watching it. I'd easily watch it again. Yeah, in an instant. It's just really funny. I think one of the best comedies of the year. And,
one thing I actually forgot to say. Well, it's two parts of the same point. The impressions in this movie of people who are real. For example, Evan Rachel Wood nailed Madonna because she was just fucking insufferable, just as I imagine Madonna to be. And Quinta Brunson's Oprah Winfrey was fucking spot on.
I love Quinta Brunson. If anyone listening hasn't checked out Abbott Elementary yet, it's the next Office. It's
so good,
fucking great. It's on Disney Plus. Check it out. There's only one season on there. Season 2's airing right now, so we'll hopefully get that soon. But yeah, so funny. Conan O'Brien as Andy Warhol as well. Like, see his real hair under the wig.
And the guy, I don't know who the guy was, but the guy who was supposed to be Coolio in the audience of him doing
in the audience
Amish Paradise, and he's absolutely livid. That
apparently
really
that was like Coolio wasn't happy when that parody dropped, and then
I imagine because he like
it was a serious song about like growing up in that sort of environment, and then it comes on and does a parody of it. Apparently they made up in 2006, and Coolio was like, that shit's funny. So they're all good.
I can't. Well, that is kind of surprising. I thought Coolio would have a better sense of humor.
He was not Coolio about it.
But
I
guess because I feel like the initial reaction in like hip hop especially is to beef with somebody if they wrong you. So like Coolio having a beef with Weird Al is fucking funny. Which at the time I imagine was great.
We've not even brought up, I think one of the best jokes in the movie is that Eat It came before Beat It.
Oh yeah.
And Michael Jackson is the one doing the parody.
That's another bit that almost got me. I was just like, when he was doing it, and he was like, there's nothing like this, and I was like, in my head, I was like, that can't be true. I didn't Google it, thank God, but I was like, there was a brief second where I was like, I'm not sure,
because he goes on this whole stint of I only want to do original music, and then he brings this, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just makes it funnier, and then
it's because it's so like sincere. Like the moment is so sincere.
Again, they play it fully straight faced, fully seriously, and that's what makes it so much funnier.
3.5. We've got
a 3.5 and a 4 out of 5. Very good scores. Check out Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. If you haven't yet, that is it for our review. If you're watching on YouTube, then let us know what you thought of the movie down below in the comments. Alternatively, if you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple, then just tweet us at Keeping It Real UK with your thoughts. We'll be back later this week with another episode of our podcast. And then hopefully early next week with a big spoiler-heavy review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. In the meantime, you can head to our YouTube and check out our reviews of the new Avatar trailer, Barbarian, and our podcast from last week where we talk about our favorite horror movies, Halloween costumes, which MCU movie would have benefited from a penis, and debate which wrestler is the best actor. But until next time, keep it real.